Alright, so got a bunch of little things buttoned up underneath here. Mr. Notorious, you are gonna love this thing. This is kind of unfortunate. I've never seen one of these before. So I guess that's a Saleen thing. So far so good. All right, guys, it's actually the first time I'm putting a car up on the new lift here. So got some nice rubber pads down there, which I'm told you got to be careful. Sometimes they end up sticking to the car, and then, you know, the car drives off with the pad stuck to its frame rail, or in most mechanic shop instances, probably stuck to the pinch weld, and they'll take off, and then the shop's left without their pads. So with that said, get the arms underneath the car, lift it up, see how it does. And it'll be the first time we get to take a look at the underside of this Saleen. Oh, that's badass. The lift actually levels down on its own onto the locks when you're done. And the other badass thing about this lift, Mr. Notorious, you are gonna love this thing. Why? Because he's like 6'6", and like this lift goes higher than I need it. Like I can get it up probably so I won't even hit my head on a tire, but this is more than high enough to do any of your work underneath the Fox here. And let's take a look. So our floor pans are actually really nice. You know, here's our T56 long tubes. Just gonna have to see there. It's pretty close to the floor, but I think we'll be okay. Same thing here. And talk about a tight fit. Gives me an opportunity to get this tape off. Just clears the K-member. Anyways, you guys don't need to see me peel tape off. Got brand new Racecraft suspension, springs. Like, you know, there's the spindles have even been recoated. I don't know if they're powder coated or they're painted or Cerakoted or whatever it might be. But yeah, very clean under here. I think the dirtiest thing on the car is the differential here. You know what? I've never seen one of these before. So I guess that's a Saleen thing. Their own little distribution block for the rear brakes. Here we go. N2 Saleen Racecraft shocks. Running quad shocks, which is great. You got that old factory fuel filter in there. So I'm happy to see that the tank straps are here, because I didn't see the tank straps in the crates. So I was concerned that maybe they were missing, but it doesn't look like they are. I can now get up here. We'll get the oil feed sorted out for the blower onto our push lock connector here. Get our alternator wired up, oil feed wired up, all this great stuff that we can do from the underside of the car. Obviously these guys are going to be coming off. So this is kind of unfortunate. I'm hoping I can maneuver the factory lines up and around. They put a bunch of silicone, actually they really glued those lines onto that subframe connector. And see if I can cut them off. Otherwise it might be worth leaving the factory lines in here. But I have to see, guys. Alright, so got a bunch of little things buttoned up underneath here. So if you look up there, you can see we got the oil sending unit, the Holley one there. Just gotta pull the sensor down and get the oil feed line coming off, that fitting as well. So that's all hooked up. Started wiring up the alternator there. Got our oil return line all sorted out. So things are coming along quite nicely. I figured, you know what? Let's get this fuel tank in and start running some fuel line. So you can see in my hand, I've got a brand new pickup assembly here. Got the Aeromotive stealth pump all wired up, ready to go. And you can see it's actually an adapter there, a 6 to an 8. And then we'll have the 8 return. So I'm gonna go ahead, fish this guy down. Got a brand new gasket here, retaining clip. And once the pump's in, check our fittings. We'll get the fuel filter disconnected here, and we'll get the new guy plumbed up, this one right here. And from there, we'll start running some lines. There you go, guys. What do you think? And she used a factory clamp. I put the bottom section of this guy on the top, so we got some rubber along the top side. I put a little piece of kill mat on the bottom. And now I can physically bolt this back up in the stock location, and hopefully it'll work. All right, there we go. So one thing that I'm thinking, and he might be the wisest choice, you know, I'm trying to not drill or do anything outside of factory holes and factory mounting. So I'm almost thinking I might leave his factory fuel lines in here and just run the new ones alongside them. And two reasons for that. Number one, it's gonna be really easy to tie wrap new braided lines along this by having these all here. And secondly, if he ever wants to put this car back to stock, the lines will be there. So the question will be, you know, just put caps on the ends, and tuck them out of the way, and kind of have them out of sight, out of mind. I'll run it by the owner, but that would be my approach. You know, if you got a really clean, fairly original Saleen car, like I get the motor's not original, but if you ever wanted to do a complete, like put back to stock project, this car would be worthy of that. Like it's that clean, it's that together, it has all the parts that are required to be on a Saleen car. So, you know, I could be a little wrong on that, but I feel like ultimately that'd be the way to go. Why is he back so early? Supposed to be getting his AC charged. Is he not there?
No. You have a R12 system. You need to buy the 134 conversion kit.
It is converted.
Come back. Go talk to him.
That's why it's a 134 fitting on it.
He says it's not.
Tell him to put the adapter on there. I say that 15 foot of line came real close, and I was fearful that cutting off all those ends to do the fuel pressure regulator side of things was going to leave me short on this end, and we were within 6 inches. So 2 15-foot rolls of line will get you to the front and back, do your regulator and everything else that you need. So you can see we've actually got quite a bit more on the Dash 8 here, and well, that's because it was closer. So the back sides, the fuel rails are closer, didn't have to go towards the front of the fender well there where I got the fuel pressure regulator mounted, so that's why there's more this guy than there is the other. All right guys, I got all these lines run and I have everything done except for one fitting. I need one damn fitting to go on to the main pressure line right here. So I'm gonna have to order that off Amazon, get that on there, and return's done. So what I'll do is once I know that this is all on and fitted, you can see it's all here and routed all down here. You can see it's all zip tied on right now. And that's just to make sure proof of concept and everything is good and routed and working the way that we need it to. And then once everything is tested and good, then I'll go through and look, I got some really nice clamps that kind of hold the lines together, and go over all that and just make sure that things work. Because if for whatever reason they don't, then you don't want to have to kind of undo everything. So it's kind of like the placeholder, and I'll undo all the fittings. I'll blow compressed air through all the lines, because when you're cutting them, you can have little pieces of the nylon, little pieces of the metal, so on. So once I get that last fitting on there, I'll pull all of the connections off. I'm going to blow compressed air through the lines, make sure that any of the dust or dirt, debris that could have got into the nylon, most likely from cutting through them to get the fittings on, I'm going to make sure all that stuff is out, because the last thing that we want is for any of it to end up in our injectors and clogging those. So do that, double check all the fittings, tighten everything up, and then I'll be able to bolt the gas tank up in there fully and pour some gas in. I gotta do the wiring for the Terminator X, but we'll be able to test everything, make sure that there's no leaks, that the fuel's getting to the rails. And guys, we're so close. I'm finally getting pretty excited here. I'm gonna mess around. I'm gonna open up the exhaust box down there. I'm gonna, just maybe hold a couple things up, see how they fit, because it is a full Hooker Blackheart 3-inch for long tube. So I want to see what I might be getting myself into in terms of the long tube headers on here, because that's actually meant for a Coyote swap, I believe. So I'm gonna try it out, see how things line up. And I can see already things might be interesting right here, depending on how the X-pipe comes out of the box. I love moments like these, because not only do I hate exhaust, by no means did I think I would get this far in this short amount of time. So I've pretty much got the whole X-pipe back mocked up into place. I got the clamps and everything else on. And guys, like, this is fitting and looking really nice. You can see I got my little meter stick here, holding things up into place here. Now, mind you, I'm gonna have to figure out final position on band clamps and all the other adjustment pieces, but the main thing is, looks like we've got clearance between frame rails, control arms, everything is coming back out here nicely using the factory hangers, which is super cool. This side, things are a little off because the gas tank is down. Once I push this tank up, then I'll be able to position all these things the way that they need to be. Now, see, to make sure that we don't have any issues with this fuel line up here, which I don't think we will. If needed, I can always pull this back and kind of route it down or up and over around this way. So I'm not overly concerned about that. But otherwise, looks like we have clearance, and tire clearance is going to be really good. Gas tank clearance is really good. This is bent up really nice, guys. This is full stainless, 3-inch, can be front to back. So of course, the most interesting part now is the tubes going to the collectors of the headers. Now, good news is these are Hooker long tubes. So I think this might be the driver's side. I'm gonna have to figure out which side is which, but I just need to find the collector side for this area here. Hopefully there's gonna be enough, and it's gonna be close, guys. Like even this right here, like that is close. But the other thing that sucks here is the clearance on the O2 sensor bung. Actually, the bungs are there, but they're actually not drilled. So that might be a good thing, because I don't know if that's ultimately where they're gonna end up. Might have to do some drilling on these sides, because yeah, gonna have to see. Tight fit, but at least, hey, all that's looking good. And I should probably wedge the drive shaft in here while I'm under here, and why not? Everything else is pretty much where it needs to be. The other thing that we want to make sure of course, just that our fuel line and everything is out of the way of the exhaust, which it looks like that will all be fine as well. So far so good.